Hello and welcome to the Dokapon Library, your one-stop shop for getting a feeling like we just got an update not too long ago. Back in October, Dokapon Sword of Fury was updated to version 1.0.2, and now, on November 18th, the game has been updated from version 1.0.2 to 1.0.3. The main focus of this update was to fix bugs that would cause the game to freeze and then crash, so be prepared to see this screen a lot throughout the video. And as usual, this update contains a set of patch notes listing 14 issues that were fixed in this update, so let's go through each and every one of them. To start things off, the game would have a chance to crash when battling a chapter boss and putting it to sleep. For this one, it's not entirely consistent when the actual crash occurs. Sometimes the boss wakes up, sometimes it doesn't. All that matters is that this was fixed in 1.0.3 so that sleep can now be reliably used against chapter bosses. These next couple of bugs can only be encountered in one of the endgame scenarios. When encountering the Demon King Greed in Chapter 10, he will ask that the player join him in defeating the god Zenith. If the player accepts and then successfully defeats Zenith, the game will end with one last special arena battle, and this update fixes a couple of issues with this arena battle. First off, the opponent selection screen did not work properly. Controls would often be attributed to the wrong player for this screen. For example, this is player A, and this is player B. Despite it being player A's turn, I can only select an opponent with player B's controller. Another issue was that if Wee used his escape skill in this arena battle, it was possible for subsequent battles to not proceed properly. In my testing, this could result in a battle with Wee where the screen is completely black, but controller input is still allowed. It even goes to the end results screen after the turn, despite neither player being defeated. Both of these bugs were fixed in 1.0.3, so this ending arena battle should function more smoothly now. There was a bug where the game would freeze during a village boss fight if both Teleport Slash and Mirror Slash are defended against with a defensive magic. Presumably, this could occur with two players in an alliance battle when fighting against Wallace. For the next crash, a player with Erase Magic A needs to use it against an opponent using Mirror Magic. Erase Magic A is designed to destroy the opponent's offensive magic, but Mirror Magic is designed to reflect an offensive magic back to the original caster. So a reflected Erase Magic A basically destroys itself, which causes some issues. The game will freeze when trying to display this offensive magic in certain areas. For example, opening the equipment menu in this state will cause the game to crash. Thankfully, this is now fixed to not break during this specific situation. Previously, the game would freeze if the player's money dropped below negative 100 million gold. The game would also freeze if the value of the player's treasures exceeded a certain amount. Another bug occurred if a CPU sent a blackmail to a player with a full inventory. The game would simply become unresponsive on the item discard screen. Next, there were a couple of issues related to the intoxicated status. An intoxicated player will act randomly for the first turn, then fall asleep next turn. However, not every situation was accounted for when dealing with this random control. For example, if a monster surrenders and gives an intoxicated player an item while they have a full inventory, they won't be able to throw away an item and will get stuck on the discard screen. This one actually seems to still be broken in the 1.0.3 version. At least from my testing, it froze on the discard screen just like in the previous version. Another oversight with the intoxicated status was with the field magic Monster Puppet. This field magic allows the user to take control of a monster, meaning that they can select the monster's moves while in battle. However, if an intoxicated player controlled a monster in battle, they wouldn't select anything for the monster and would get stuck on that screen. If a player enters a down state, meaning that all their stats are reduced in the overworld, and they go to a weapon shop to purchase equipment, the game would crash when entering the purchase screen. The update fixes this so that it no longer crashes. When selling equipment to Gametsu the merchant, the player's defensive magic would be attributed to the wrong item. It would either display the wrong item, or even nothing entirely. And the update changes this so that the correct defensive magic now displays properly. When transformed into a Deviler Man, the speed and magic stats would be accidentally reversed. A player with these stats would transform into a Deviler Man with these stats. Even though Ulala's speed is higher than her magic beforehand, as a Deviler Man, it's suddenly the opposite. 1.0.3 fixes this so that the values for speed and magic are not reversed upon transformation. When using the Dark Art to close all the shops on the map, the banks would not close, even though they were supposed to be included in this. This was fixed in 1.0.3 so that the banks now close as expected. And finally, when playing with multiple controllers, there was previously a chance that disconnecting one of the controllers at a specific time could make it impossible to progress, even if that disconnected controller is reconnected. And there's all the patch notes. Overall, it's nice to see Sword of Fury get continued support so shortly after the previous update. Whether or not this trend of updates will continue for Sword of Fury is yet to be seen, but it does give me high hopes for Dokapon content going forward. Thank you for joining me on this Dokapon news update, and I'll see you later for some more Dokapon content.